Afternoon, Ange.
Yeah.
You spoke on Sunday about the excellent record you have in your second season in terms of delivering trophies. Therefore, how significant do you see this game and this competition, the quickest route to winning something?
Yeah, look, every game's an opportunity for us to get on that sort of road to success. So, but obviously, cup competitions, there's kind of a definite timeline there where you know that we've got to win tomorrow to progress. So, focus is there.
When you look to deliver success at a club, how much do you, as a manager who's won things, rely on the players in your squad who have also delivered, the likes of Christian Romero, Rodrigo Bentancur, who know what it's like to win big trophies?
It helps, I guess, because that it's I guess that experience of winning. I think I've said before, there's always sort of common factors whenever you kind of look across any kind of successful endeavour. Certainly around coherence and belief in each other and in something, and making sure you're disciplined in the kind of the way you behave and approach things. I think there's a consistency there. It doesn't matter who you're playing for, who you're representing. There's always those kind of common factors, and guys who've experienced that before, hopefully they can sort of relate that to the guys who haven't had that experience.
When you come to thinking about the team that you might select tomorrow, how difficult is the balance between results-wise not being great so far this season, and you need to build a little bit of momentum, but you're in the middle of a run of 7 games in 21 days, and you can't, I'm assuming, flog the same guys for all of those 7 matches?
I think the main thing is we want to win tomorrow night, so you're kind of looking at which players are in the best position to do that, and so you do take into account there's a game a couple of days ago, so we're looking at guys who see how they've recovered from that. Got some guys who haven't played much who are ready to play and contribute, so it's always about trying to put a team out there you think's going to win and get the job done, and that's what we'll do tomorrow.
Just a final one then on the team that you might select, is Yves Bissouma in contention?
No, Biss, still not where we want him to be, so hopefully still a chance for the weekend.
Thanks, Ange.
Nizar, please.
And I wanted to ask you about Christian Romero. There was a retweet of an Argentinian journalist tweet where he suggested that he didn't get his travel paid for in a private jet back to the UK after international duty, and maybe that left him tired or ill, depending on how you look at the translation. But I just wondered, had you seen that? Have you commented on that? Have you spoken to him about that, or just to clarify the situation in general?
No, it was mentioned to me, but it wasn't mentioned to me before the game. Knew nothing about it. All the players got back Thursday. We had a Sunday game. No one reported anything other than the usual checks from people from coming back from international duty. So prior to the game, no one said anything.
Just confirm that Christian was fine and well to play the game. There was no risk taken with a sort of illness or anything like that.
As I said, there was nothing before the game that was mentioned to me.
And I read a FIFPro report about players and the travel they've done, and Christian was actually top of all players in world football last year. I was wondering if you're aware of that, and is that just a challenge that maybe some of the South American players and maybe some of the Asian players have to deal with, and do you have sort of sympathy with the guys over that sort of issue?
Yeah, but that's not a new thing. That's been going on for quite a while. I'm not sure why it's relevant today. I think that's been going on for a very long time. I've got Mile Jedinak asking how many kilometres he did whilst trying to have a career over here in Europe. So it's not great, it's not ideal. Sometimes you have to pay for international fixtures. At the same time, I think it's right that particularly the players are really concerned about the amount of games they're playing. I think that's really relevant, but the tyranny of distance has always been there. I think we're starting to clutch a bit if we're using that as something for the weekend. That had nothing to do with our game on the weekend, but as an overall, I agree. I think the international calendar is really putting some strenuous demands on footballers to perform at the highest level, and we know that them representing their country is really important to them. We know the distances involved in that, particularly like I said for South American and Asian players, and it's something we kind of need to have a look at from a holistic point of view, but not really relevant to the current situation.
Could I just ask a follow-up on that? Sort of seen Allison and Akanji, they've come out and said that they're playing too many games and they're sort of starting to feel it. Do you feel that among the players you work with, and are the new competitions the problem?
I mean, again, not specifically here. I definitely think that we're pushing the boundaries of what, you know, we're asking of players today. If we want, you know, sort of elite performances across the board and players, you know, being available constantly, that you know, I think we're bursting at the seams in terms of how much requirements we put on players. Absolutely.
Ali. Hi, Ange. Your brand of football is kind of this relentless, like, we never stop kind of attacking football. Are there any points, maybe especially on Sunday, and maybe particularly after they scored, that there was any frustration that it seemed to slow down? It seemed a bit more hesitant in that final third area.
Not specifically then. I think it was before that. I thought, you know, it was quite obvious that Arsenal were quite keen to slow the game down. I just thought we did at times as well, unnecessarily in the first half. A couple of times from goal kicks where we just took ages to get started, and you know, we kind of allowed them to get the break they wanted. And so yeah, I mean, at the end of the game, it's always going to be difficult because they're really good at sitting deep, and they sit deep really well. They've got a really strong, you know, presence inside their defensive box. So, you know, going goal behind was always going to make it difficult for us to open them up or generate any sort of tempo in the game. So, you know, when we kind of looked at the game, I thought there was missed opportunities, particularly in the first half when we were on top, to really, you know, continue to be relentless, because there was a lot of sort of slowing down of the game, you know, when they were in control of it. And, you know, when we slowed it down, we kind of contributed to it as well.
Guillermo Vicario, after the game, was getting a little bit of criticism for the goal, maybe suggestions he could have been stronger and come out. Is that something you see any validity in?
I think, yeah, there's a collective responsibility there within something like that. You know, it's, as I said after the game, it's a moment where we switched off in many respects, you know, from our focus, which had been really good up until that point, and, you know, we got punished for it.
And some of the younger players maybe working towards their chance, Archie Gray, Lucas Bergvall, obviously new arrivals, maybe even someone like Mikey Moore. Could we see any of these players tomorrow?
You can see them, yeah. They might even be on the pitch, mate. Yeah, no, they're ready to play, and you know, we're keen to get them some game time. That's why we brought them to the club, because they're training really well. You know, the games haven't gone the way we wanted in terms of, you know, giving them some more exposure. But we always knew that, you know, this was the period where it starts, not just between now and next international break, but post that, really, probably till the end of January, we're going to have a really busy schedule, and they're going to play a big part in that. So, you know, guys like those three you mentioned, and, you know, Wilson, who hasn't played a lot so far, Pape, you know, a lot of these guys, Radu, you know, we're keen to get them playing because we're going to need them.
Okay, finish this section with Ian, please.
Hi, I'm Charlie.
Good, mate.
In terms of last season, I know you mentioned it a few times about how you were frustrated that you'd gone out in the first round of Fulham because later on in the year you didn't have the number of games you wanted your team to have. Will that be, as well as winning a trophy, will that be a big sort of thing you'll want to impress upon your team tomorrow, that this is a chance for some of the players to play on a more regular basis this season?
Yeah, I mean, we didn't have Europe last year either, so, you know, like I said, it was an unusual year last year where, you know, for a club our size and, you know, with the squad we carry, that we didn't really have the volume of games, and going out in the first round of the Carabao Cup didn't help that. But look, it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to play. It's an opportunity to impress. It's an opportunity for us to advance in a competition. All those kind of things are still true, and that's what we're focusing on.
And I know you reiterated at the weekend that the second year is a year where you win a trophy.
It's amazing, isn't it? Like, I just stated a fact, and it seems like, am I supposed to just lie or just say it never happened? But no, it's just it's confusing to me that people are making a big deal out of something. I'm not sure how I'm supposed to answer something that is true. Like, if I don't win it in the second year this year and I come out next year and say, well, I always win it. Well, no, actually, it's not true. But I've just said something that's true. And it seems like it's upset a lot of people for some reason.
I think it's because it's unusual that we see a manager who...
Saying something true?
No. Well,
yeah, somebody said, yeah.
You could say that, I could possibly comment. No. But it's quite bashful about their team's prospects.
But it's... do you really think I'm it's me sort of being boasting. Like, how am I supposed to answer something that's true? Is it to say, well, actually, no, it wasn't that important. They were easy competitions and they don't mean anything. And I mean, if you've achieved something, aren't you supposed to say, yes, I have, and that's what I hope to do again? I'm not really sure, like, why people misconstrue it as me trying to boast about something. I've answered a question, which I think somebody else brought up here anyway, which before that, which is true, and that's always happened. And my plan is for it to happen again this year. And if it doesn't happen, then I can't answer that question the same way next year. I can say mostly, not always.
Well, just following on from that, because opening 4 games, you easily could be sitting there having won all 4, the way your team have played, domination against Leicester, but they haven't. So, in a sense, there's the winning mentality. How do you marriage the winning mentality with your philosophy going forward so you win more?
Yeah, well, it's just like I said, it's a consistency and sort of belief in what we're doing. And you know, I've said before, it's not an easy process. It you know, at times can feel pretty disheartening when things don't happen smoothly. But I've always believed in certain things to be true. And one is that if you keep playing well, the results will come. But you just can't do that and expect it to happen. You know, there's still elements in our game that we need to improve on. And, you know, I think when you look at the 4 games, I think that you could summarise all 4 games in a very similar way of us, you know, outperforming the opposition, but not taking the critical moments in our favour, and you pay a price for that. But that doesn't mean you need to change your approach. If anything, you just need to keep doing what you're doing and make sure that in those critical moments we take advantage of it.